How's it going, everybody? Katha here. Welcome back to another episode of Pokemon Freedom. Again, it's been about a month since the last episode, and unfortunately, once again, I haven't done too much. However, I have fixed one issue, which I've already been asked about to fix. Well, one to fix, but I've also been looking for a fix for this for a little while, and kind of just randomly thought of it, which is to do with going up and down slopes. They would bounce. And the other one, I have made some beginning tweaks to flying and swimming. So as you can see here, we are very smoothly sticking to the ground. Without doing anything fancy, we still fall off cliffs. We can jump if I press the right button, so I haven't swapped that. The only issue is there is a little bit of a skip there going uphill, which I don't mind too much. I mean, it's only really noticeable the faster you go. Just walk. Not even noticeable in the slightest. There is that bit of an issue. I thought I'd fixed that, apparently not. If you stop walking, the thing that I'm having snap me to the ground is not going into effect. I thought I swapped that back, but I must not have. So we'll go have a look at the code for that first, and then we'll go into the flying. So we've got this chunk of code here, which is pretty much all that I have going for what's snapping me to the ground, which is pretty much this line here. So if we go through it, so create a raycast hit, if I can speak. This we'll just take that out. Velocity equals 0, because I believe I have fixed the reasoning for having that. We do a raycast down, and actually having this be up a very tiny amount is very important, and I'll show that in a minute. Make it go down, put out the raycast hit, go down at a length of 1 in my ground layer. If you don't make it public, or if you made it public, you wouldn't have to do this. But what I've done is set up the other layer masks of rocks and ground, because they're the things that I want to be considered the ground. And this is how you encode set it up. So you choose between, these look for both of these things, and you use bit operation, that's the right terminology for it, to set up layers. If you don't make them public, could make them public and just have the one thing for that, but that's fine. Anyway, so if we do hit something, then do a vector3 dot operation of the normal of the hit and my forward, and I'm looking to see if that is greater than 0. So that's to stop me from having the effect applied while I walk up the hill. My mouse has been being a little bit annoying. Load things. There we go. I feel like I selected the thing and it's driving me mad. We're lagging a little bit. But so that walking down the slope is the only time where the effect gets applied. Otherwise, you get driven into the ground. Isn't very nice. We then just grab the angle. We make it absolute by just making it always positive. That's all. That's what that does. If you didn't know, and yeah, just getting the angle from the hit normal to the up direction, and making sure it's between an angle of 1 and 45, so it doesn't apply to the steep cliffs here. I may have to eventually tweak this value. We'll see. And I think I just call this in a couple of places. In landing or for falling or landing, initially this long check here, which I should go down to 2 lines, but I haven't done that. We just make sure that that is false. Otherwise, we don't want to go in to do this. We want to go do the other things. If the other things check out, and where the falling or landing is actually called, that only gets called if we're not grounded. This needs to be called when we are grounded as well, otherwise we get like a staircase effect. But let's just quickly see if the whole me not moving has broken anything. Jump off the cliff first, just fine. Yep. No, I think this is, there we go, that's why I have the, that was why. Because as you can see, if I stop moving, looking upwards is fine. It's looking downwards is the problem. We're slowly sliding down. If I could get the angle right. There we go. So I'm above, pretty much looking upwards at that point. That's why that 0 was there. I will put that back. But this, I want to show the importance of this tiny adjustment before we go into the flying. I was going to go zoom over there, but no, we just need to play. So, in my very rare case that I have over here, this mountain / path is actually, I believe it's a separate mesh. So it works fine for most cases. But if we were to walk here, yeah, sort of saw it. There, I get pushed into the ground. Don't know if it happens when I walk. It's a bit hard to have happen now, considering I partially fixed it. Keep getting it, and then it fixes itself afterwards. But yeah, we're getting, the raycast is going under the ground and colliding with this. I believe I can probably just go show that off if the game lets me. If Unity lets me. Yeah, this tiny little extension here, clipping part here, that's the cause for our issues there. So we can go leave that in there as well. But yeah, that's all for that. Before we do anything else, code-wise, let's have a look at my very buggy, very work in progress flying. I've also changed it. Okay, sneak peek. I've also changed it so the glide, why you do the things of not showing the right animations. Again, they still need to be tweaked as well. Yep. Just don't jump. There we go. But I've made it so that gliding is always moving forwards. Forgot how slow you are. But anyway, if we fly off, well, you're not going in the right forward direction. That might be why. I feel like I've broken things. Let's just restart. And then we'll be all good. Come on, please. Just do the animation. The landing's a bit finicky because of things. Anyway, you're not doing what I want you to be doing. Anyway, flying. I have changed it so I can do loopy loops and go sideways. Barrel rolls. Even though they're not technically called barrel rolls. And you will, they even themselves out. I don't know why you're going in an upwards direction. I feel like I broke something. I think I know what I might have broken when we go into the code. But it just allows us to do that. I will like to change it so obviously not flapping the wings all the time. This is a case of me doing animations when I get around to it. And I was going to say something else, but I don't know what that is. And it's driving me mad that we're not going enough forwards. We're going in like the ground direction forward or something. It's doing weird stuff. They might have clearly broken things. Swimming's a little bit finicky at the moment. Whenever we get to the ground, it just, this is if it even works, if I've completely broken something or not. Because this is my swimming animation. And yeah, he doesn't have an actual set speed to move. The way that I've set it up, he's not actually going anyway. Try just try using the keyboard instead. There we go. That looks a bit better. Now I've broken it because I've been using the controller. There we go. I don't know what broke with that, but there we go. I'll have to look into that. But yeah, kind of like flight controls, normal flight controls, planes and whatnot, constantly moving forward. Thinking of if you were to use a controller, which I think I'm changing my mind on going into making this more a keyboard mouse game rather than a controller. But if you would use a controller, I would think maybe use the triggers to go faster and slow down. Maybe? I don't know. I've got to think about how this would work in battles as well, which is also why I decided to work on this, even though I hadn't really planned to. But yeah, obviously turning around is requiring you to go sideways and then pull back. Because I think it would just look weird if you were to turn around like that while flying, just being all sharp, like so. I don't know. Again, work in progress, but it's a thing that's happening. Oh, that's what I was going to say. I want the camera while flying outside of battle anyway to just stay behind the character. Whether it will roll. I don't think it'll roll with it because it'll probably break too many things. But at least stay directly behind. Be able to look up and down. This looks funny with the constant flapping. Anyway, I'm going to try to show you the code for this. Unfortunately, this is a bit all over the place. It's mainly just in Fly and Swim though. The initial code, just uncomment it so you can actually read it. Again, was just normal movement, just with the added Y speed going back to 0. All of this here is basically what's doing it. So this is to do with the rotating back to 0 if the Z-axis rotation doesn't equal 0. And I've got it so long as the value of the input is less than 0.3, it'll rotate back. Just so when you're trying to turn, it's not countering it back. And otherwise you're like basically fighting the controls there. Using the local Euler angles as well, otherwise things break. And because rotations in Euler angles go from 0 to 360, once it's over 180, we need to minus it by 360 to have it rotate the correct direction. Otherwise, you go into the negatives, and instead of rotating anti-clockwise back to 0, it goes clockwise and rotates basically a full 360 degrees to get back to 0, which is not great. But rotating is just as simple as getting the reverser forward. I don't know why that's a reverser forward, but that needs to be reverse forwarded. Otherwise, it's inverted. I think that one's the... No. I can't remember. I believe this one is... Yeah, this is the roll. So, rotating sort of like left and right. Whereas this one's moving up and down. The yaw, if you will. If that makes more sense to you. Grab the X input, times it by these values will change. But I've just got them standard values for now. Time, and in world space. I have a times 3 here. That's not supposed to be there. Huh. Which means this should be 150. Not really, because that's making that actually go slower. No? Yes? Maybe? I don't remember. My brain's fried. It's past midnight. But world space is required, otherwise... It's not really going to come through if I show you. But it's more for like the loops. Boop. You would get to this point and you would just start bouncing back and forwards. It'd be easier to show on the keyboard, me pressing that, than you would just bounce can't do it because he rolls back around. But you would just bounce back and forth, essentially. Is there anything else that the flying stuff has been changed? I don't think so. I added this in, but I don't need this anymore, so I'm actually going to get rid of it. I thought I needed this, but no. I was just being silly. That's about it. I did throw it in so the ocean has the fly swim as well, because for whatever reason I didn't put that there. That's about it, I think. Unless I've missed something. In gravity, yes. Not sure if I showed it, but I am calculating my own forward vector. Yes, I didn't. We'll go over it here. Just when I get my new up direction, which is in the input stuff, I do the 4 raycasts down. I have done this actually. Do some fancy normal stuff. Get a different quaternion angle axis. And that just gets the new forward direction, which I'll show off in a second with Umbreon. I just make sure that that goes back to the normal forward opposed to this calculated forward. So if we just go in here, turn these gizmos on. So the purple line here, if you can see it, hopefully, that's the calculated forward. And as soon as I run down here onto a slope, it matches the angle of the slope. And this yellow line is my actual forward. So whilst flying, we follow that one. Whereas on the ground, this is the direction that we go. The slopes. It just makes this slightly smoother. So you're not just ramming into the ground. But yeah, so that's pretty much it. This video has gone a little bit longer than I thought it would have for just the 2 things that I'm showing off. But that's fine. Let me know what you think, or what you think the controls should actually be for the flying. I am having a little bit of back and forth with myself of how this should happen. So obviously I don't want it to fly forward automatically, because I want you to be able to have control on that. But like, if you use these, I don't know, so you could use it so the camera determines the direction like it does on the ground. But it's just a case of once you get into battle, you're always going to be facing or if you toggle it off, unless you toggle it off, you're always going to be facing the Pokemon that you fight, but the camera is always going to be looking towards them. So it's just a case of either I've got to think of 2 control schemes that you can bounce between, which is not very nice, or find something that works for both. And yeah, if you're constantly moving forward, that's not great. So I don't know. Yeah, it's just keyboard. I don't know what I do for keyboard. Kind of works for controller, but not for keyboard. Unless I'm missing the obvious thing, because it's weird. Because we need to basically make helicopter controls, but plane controls at the same time. Very, very weird. But anyway, guys, that's all the time I have for today. Hopefully you have enjoyed it and I have made sense. If I haven't, let me know and I will try to explain further, either in the comments or next in another video. But yeah, that's it. Hopefully the next one comes around sooner than the last 2 have been, but I've been very busy lately. But yeah, anyway, I'm rambling. That's all for today. Hope you've enjoyed it. If you did, please feel free to stick around and see some more. And I shall see you guys next time. But until then, bye.